And then I spent 10 minutes chasing my two black cats who would not be corralled. So I just had to grab simply my desktop computer and some clothing and tore off some framed photographs from the wall.
Yeah.
And I started thinking, well, maybe you won't get to me.
Yeah.
But pretty soon I realized that I'm seeing a few tongues of flame over the ridge.
Yeah.
And if that is the case, I better get the hell out.
Right. Second.
And day before yesterday and yesterday I was able to go up to the house and look at the ruin.
And so what was that like? What did you find?
I found a lot of broken brick, twisted steel beams, fallen down rain gutters, and a still standing chimney with the fireplace on top of it, with a grate in it, getting ready to do things.
Right.
Well, it started, of course, 1st of September 1939 when Germans invaded. My town of Lodz, L-O-D-Z, was overrun within 8 days. And within a very short time it was pure hell on wheels. And we were forced into the Lodz ghetto, which was nothing but an urban concentration camp. And that by midsummer of 1944 we were forced to stop hiding out from the Germans and be marched off to Auschwitz, where my mother was gassed.
And so how long were you in Auschwitz?
3 lifetimes,
Yeah.
because the expected lifetime there was 2 weeks.
Right.
That's why I don't have a number tattooed on me,
Yeah.
because where I was the holding pen for the gas chamber.
Uh-huh.
So why waste ink?
Yeah. So you were just in the holding pen for the gas chamber the whole time?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, they inspect you and decide if you're still exploitable by work. They had a program called Death by Work.
Yeah. So, how did you survive? How did you not get?
Dumb shit luck, mainly.
You're right.
I was with my father then and my brother who's adopted. He lives in Boulder.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
His name is William.
What's his, is it Plywaski?
Yeah.
Okay.
And we were lucky enough to find a way out of Auschwitz by volunteering to go for labor in Germany. But when you do that, you're taking a great risk.
Yeah.
Because very often they'll say, oh, this is a transport for a nice labor camp. And they would shove you into a gas chamber. It's what I call the German roulette. Well-known concentration camp in Germany. And I eventually wound up being in 7 different locations under Dachau.
Uh-huh.
Main camp and punishment camps and 1 punishment camp. Eventually I escaped from a sub-camp of Dachau, only 12 miles north of Munich. Mm-hmm. And my brother and I, by then my father was beaten to death with a shovel by a camp commandant.
Wow.
And we were able to escape because their discipline was breaking down. And also there was an explosion that destroyed the barbed wire with high voltage. We were able to get out of there and get some leftover arms and stuff like that and started marching towards the fighting. Eventually we were captured by an American Army patrol, and then we became U.S. Army mascots in cut-down uniforms and all. Oh, I was the safest guy in Germany in that uniform. Eventually, my brother was taken to the United States by a Red Cross field director, and I stayed on as a U.S. Army civilian employee for some time, and finally in June 1947 I decided to kick Europe and stowed away on a Liberty freighter out of Cherbourg.
And where did you first land then in the United States? Was it
Ellis Island.
Ellis Island, okay.
6 months of that. But eventually, through very accidental happenings, a very powerful man in Philadelphia heard about me and arranged for U.S. Congress to pass a special law for me legalizing my entry. Truman signed it and I was in. Supposedly for my so-called services to U.S. Army in Europe.
Yeah, okay. So, I mean, did you have lots of, like, memorabilia and stuff from your time in Germany? Or that you lost?
When you leave a concentration camp system, you're born again with nothing. I had a few photos from my family only because in 1962 I went back and one of my old aunts was still alive. She survived because she pretended to be a Gentile, a Christian.
Yeah.
And she gave me a couple of photographs, and a Gentile friend of my father's gave me my father's photograph. So 3 or 4 photographs, that's all I ever had.
Yeah. Did you get those? Did you take those with you from this fire, or did you lose them, or?
Everything is lost.
Yeah.
All of it.
So
all my references for an autobiography.
Were you gonna write another
But
one?
I have a lot of it on my computer, luckily enough. I don't know why I was so smart in grabbing the computer.
Were those photos on the computer?
Yes.
Okay.
Photos, articles that I wrote, and pieces of my autobiography. The Black Tiger Fire, I volunteered to be a fighter on it, and that was terrific. I mean, amazing. I had boots with soles this thick, almost 2 inches thick, 2 pairs of wool socks, and boots filled with water, and I still had about 1.5 inch blisters on my feet from heat.
Obviously, you've been through a lot of really difficult stuff in your life. I mean, does this sort of pale in comparison to that, or how does this?
Almost like water off a duck's back.
Yeah.
When I compare it to the camps, to the Holocaust. Not quite water off a duck's back. I'm sad, but I'm not devastated, because I compare this to that and it pales in comparison.
And when you were back up at your house, kind of looking through stuff, were you able to find just like your own personal possessions that were charred too?
No, it's all rubble. There are puddles of melted glass, puddles of melted aluminum. Can you imagine? I had stacked aluminum ladders. I had a 20-foot step ladder, all aluminum, all melted down. I feel like patting myself on the back for having grabbed that computer, because that's where the pieces of autobiography sit. I have that, and I have some of the old family photographs that I scanned into that computer and have them on a computer. But all the slides from my earlier years are gone. I must have had probably over 1,000 slides on a slide projector, you know, old-fashioned transparency. Well, considering that I am alive, and considering that I was supposed to be dead in Auschwitz in 1944. I feel pretty good. I still have life, and I still have plans, and I still have joy.